some noodlehead slides off the road, that Philip Crenshaw sends them in here and tells them to tell me that Bobby drove him off the road.
Look, I didn't just slide off the road. I was run off.
Sorry again. No, I dated Bobby in high school, and Philip still gives me a hard time about it.
So, you dated Bobby, did you?
Look, that was 24 years ago.
Why would this Crenshaw guy tell everyone to come in here and say that?
Because he was always jealous of Bobby. That and the fact that I've never gone out with him.
There has to be more to it than that.
Well, Bobby did have a habit of playing chicken.
Playing chicken? Isn't that where you walk on the railroad tracks and when a train comes along, the last one to jump off the tracks would be the winner and the other would be chicken?
That's one version of the game. Jimmy's was a little different. He would be out driving his 57 Chrysler, and sometimes we saw a car coming. He would get into its lane and stay there until one of them would swerve out of the lane. He hated losing, and he almost never did. And when he won, he would give a laugh that I swear could be heard for miles.
So, have you seen Bobby lately?
No, I haven't. But I'm not in the habit of spending time in Greenwood Cemetery.
Greenwood Cemetery?
Yeah. Back in 1959, he was playing a game of chicken and lost. As he swerved his car out of the way at the last second, he lost the game and his life.
He died?
They say his car was wrapped around a tree so tight that the only way they could get Bobby out of the car was to cut the car in half. At least, that's what they told me. I went to his funeral, but it was a closed casket. Maybe it was best that way. Oh, I don't know why I'm boring you with my ancient history.
On the contrary, you've really made my night quite interesting.
Would you like to order anything to eat?
No, thanks. I think I'll be on my way. I need to check into the motel. Jenny left the check, and I left a $5 bill for a 90-cent cup of coffee. When I got to the motel, they gave me lucky room number 13. I protested weakly, not wanting anything to do with anything unlucky like the number 13, but relented when I found out it was the only room available. I took a quick shower and went straight to bed. I was exhausted, but it seemed like forever before I finally drifted off to sleep. And the last thing I remember hearing was that eerie laughter of a man I never met. A man dead for 23 years.
So this Bobby, he was the one who ran you off the road?
He was the one.
But he died 23 years before. How could he do that unless he was a...
Unless he was a ghost. Yeah, I thought of that. I thought about it when I had breakfast. I thought about it when I replaced my tires, one at a time. By the time I was finished, it was almost 10, and I had an idea. I went to the library and checked out the back issues of the Willard Times on microfilm starting in 1959. In June of that year, I struck pay dirt.
Robert James Bateman, 19, local mechanic, was found dead last Tuesday at 11:20 p.m. According to the skid marks on the road, Bateman was driving in the wrong lane and was traveling at a high rate of speed when he veered off the road and struck a tree. He appeared to have died on impact. He is survived by his mother and several aunts and uncles. Memorial services will be held Saturday.
Darn it, there goes my theory. Everything they told me checks out, except for one final thing. So I found myself at Greenwood Cemetery. I'd spent the day trying to prove there were no such things as ghosts, and this was my last chance. It took about 10 minutes to find his grave marker, and when I did, I found what I'd been looking for. Here lies the body of Robert Bateman. May he find the peace in death that he did not in life. Born January 19th, 1940. Died. There's no date here, but I couldn't tell if the date was worn away or if it had never been there at all. I had never believed in ghosts, and I wasn't about to start now. It was clear to me now, Bobby Bateman wasn't really dead. This was one of the most elaborate hoaxes I had ever seen or heard about, and they all had to be in on it. The police, the waitress, the newspaper, the graveyard. To spend this much time and effort on this trick and then overlook a simple thing like the death date on a tombstone, well, it just didn't make any sense. But then again, none of this made any real sense. What I couldn't figure out was why they picked me. Or maybe it wasn't just me. Perhaps this is just the way a few people in this small town had fun and relieved their boredom, trapping people just passing through into their ghost web. I was determined that I wouldn't get caught in that web. I was going to catch me a ghost. I was left with two possibilities in this situation. The first, and the one that I believed, was that a flesh and bones person had run me off the road, whether it was Bobby Bateman or someone pretending to be Bobby. If he was real, I could beat him at his own game. The second possibility was that I had come up against a ghost, and I could still beat him. A ghost has no substance, so if a ghost goes through me, it can't hurt. I was going to prove who he was, one way or another. All I had to do was not steer from the car's path when it came towards me. But this time, I was looking for him, and I would be ready. It was 4:50 in the afternoon when I left the cemetery. I had plenty of time before it got dark, so I had a leisurely dinner. After I finished, I got in my car and drove out of town in the direction which I had come from the day before. I had stopped in the first town I came to that had a movie theater, bought a ticket, and went in. I got some ice cream after the movie, and at about 11 o'clock, I found myself back on the road, headed towards Willard. While I was inside watching the movie, a storm had come up. Perfect night for a ghost hunt, I told myself. With the lightning streaks lighting the way before me, I felt both nervous and exhilarated. About 2 miles outside of Willard, I felt my foot pushing down on the accelerator, but I eased up because I didn't want to have an accident before getting there. I wondered if I would be meeting up with a ghost, or was someone pretending to be a ghost. If it was a ghost, I wonder if I really could beat him at his own game, one in which he had nothing to lose. But then he did lose once in 1959. I had one last chance to change my mind, but as I looked up, I was approaching the turn just before Willard. As I turned the corner, I realized this was the first time in my life that I had gone looking for a fight. But then again, I didn't start this one. As I completed the corner, I looked up and I saw nothing. All this time, all this research, all this preparation for nothing. Then coming up, as if from nowhere, were headlights coming right at me. I heard him laughing, and my resolve grew even stronger. I pushed down on the gas pedal and continued straight ahead. The headlights and the laughing grew closer and closer. Now we were within 30 feet of one another. I was beginning to lose my nerve. My knuckles were white from clasping onto the steering wheel so tightly. Then 15 feet. Then 10. Then... When my heart started beating again, I took stock of my situation. At the last second, I slammed on my brakes, and the car that was coming toward me turned sharply to the right, broke through the guardrail, and its taillights disappeared into the field that was overgrown with tall weeds. I was right in what I thought in the first place. It was a real person, and not some ghost who had run me off the road. A minute went by, and I hadn't heard anyone stirring from the other car, so I thought I'd check to see if he needed some help. Leaving my car on the road, I got out and followed the skid marks through the freshly broken guardrail and into the field where the car had vanished. I looked down and saw the tire tracks, and where the car should have come to a stop, there was nothing there. No other weeds had been disturbed. It had just disappeared into thin air.
Well, you certainly know how to tell a story, George. Is it true?
Cross my eyes and hope to spit.
No, I mean it. Did this really happen?
Yes, it really happened. But without a witness or a video camera, how can anyone prove or disprove any ghost story?
Some stories can be proven. You gave a great deal of detail in your story, so either you are a very thorough storyteller, or this really did happen.
Of course it really happened.
Then prove it.
How?
Take me to Willard, Ohio.
You want to go to Willard now?
Yes, right now. Unless, of course, you're chicken.
Madam, I take that statement as both a personal affront and as a challenge.
You can take it any way you want, as long as you take me with you.
You're kidding, right?
I've never been more serious.
Okay, let's go then. It's over here.
Shine your flashlight on it, George.
There you go.
Here lies the body of Robert Bateman. May he find the peace in death that he did not in life.
That's what I told you.
Born January 19th, 1940. Died June 15th, 1959.
What? How did that get there?
Wait, that's not all. And March 23rd, 1982.
But that was the date that car drove off the road.
I guess it was also the date of Bobby's final game of chicken. There's one more place I need to see.
I know, the country kitchen.
No, I need to see room number 13 that you spent the night in.
Well, maybe 13 isn't such an unlucky number after all.
Today's program featured Joe Cleon as George McGravitt, Maureen Davis as Tricia Yarrow, Mel Hart as Officer Crenshaw, Josie Vecchio as Jenny, and David Binkley as Bobby Bateman. A Game of Chicken was written by David Binkley. Original music was written and performed by David Crawford. Theme music for WCRS Radio Stage was written by David Crawford and Tom Holman. WCRS Radio Stage is produced in Akron, Ohio by David Binkley and David Crawford. I'm your host, Joe Calley, asking you to join us the next time we open the curtain on WCRS Radio Stage.